Hey, it's your old pal Slim, and this is 70mm, a podcast for movie fans just like you. Disclaimer at the top of the show, we're not experts, but we do love watching movies. With me each and every episode is my close friend and artist, Danny Haas.
Hello.
And our close friend and Roman insider, Proto.
My name is Podcaster.
Every movie that we cover is connected to a theme for the month, and this time it's NEWVEMBER. Movies we've never covered on the show, but really, we can pick whatever we want. You can use the chapters in your podcast app to skip to our main discussion. This week, it's my pick from Ridley Scott in the year 2000.
Big one.
Gladiator. Black Friday. Is Black Friday when this episode comes out?
What?
No, it's the week. Is it the week after?
We don't release episodes on Friday.
Who knows when this episode?
Don't only release on Mondays. Slim.
We just realized that next week is our last live recording of the year.
Crazy.
Danny's pick.
Mm-hmm.
Is everyone? I mean, we're all taking some time off together after Danny's pick. Proto, are you excited? What are you going to do with your time off in December?
I'm going to finish my Criterion Challenge.
Oh,
First of all, first things first, get that over with. I am on track. 6 weeks left, 6 movies to watch. I have a whole month where I don't have to work for this show. I can just watch whatever I want,
God.
and I'll be watching what I need, what I'm required to watch for this challenge. So I'm looking forward to that.
Who
How about you?
put the challenge together? Like, how did you even select the movies? It's been so long that I have no memory of how this is set up.
Yes,
Like,
explain
people
it
say
to
the
you.
Criterion Challenge, but like, how does it? Is it the Hooptember kind of thing?
There's a guy on Letterboxd. He makes a list every year. He picks 52 themes for different Criterion categories. They could be like a list that some director or actor made of their favorite Criterion movies. It's all kinds of stuff, or just like from a certain country, a certain time period, whatever. So you pick 52 for each one of those categories, and you have 1 year to complete it. I decided to do it this year. It's been great. I've watched a lot of movies that I've wanted to watch for a long time, but it's a grind. Okay.
Yeah.
There's only so much time, and I'm devoted a lot of time to this challenge, but I'm going to be able to say that I completed this, and I'll have that for the rest of my life. So it means a lot.
You're gonna forget a year from now that you did this challenge. And we're gonna be on this
2024,
show. I bet you someone's gonna be like,
I
"Oh yeah,
did it.
didn't you do a Criterion Challenge in the past?" We'll have vague memories. In chat, Clarence says Proto sounds like he has a lip full of chew, like a '70s baseball player.
Mm.
Big league podcast chew in Proto's mouth right now.
It's also in pinstripes.
Clarence, why are you attacking me right now?
There's a theme because this week Proto was back on IG video, Instagram video, and you were like eating a meal, doing a video, talking about aliens and the government admitting that aliens are real.
I'm trying to get this out there because I've heard that not everybody hears the same news. I'm
Interesting.
hearing the important news that I think is relevant for everyone. The fact that it's being revealed to us that aliens are here and they've been here for a long time. It's been confirmed pretty much at this point.
Yeah.
You know,
Biologics.
I was really pleased with myself with what I was doing on IG of just like getting this out there. I said, Jenna, have you seen this story that I posted?
Well, your one you posted just ended. There was like no part 2. It just like cut off. I love
That's
that
the
ending.
government shutting them
Oh,
down.
that's like, yeah. Was there a part 2? Were you
Stay
being
tuned.
censured?
Please watch that space. Look to my IG stories tomorrow for the conclusion for part 2. But also, I think the story, it's maybe 30 seconds long. Jenna watched 15 seconds and she said, I have to turn this off because I have secondhand embarrassment.
Jenna's a real one.
So maybe part 2 won't happen because she really
I just
Made me think
imagine you
twice.
filming that at the kitchen table and Jenna walking in and just like almost eye rolling into a coma out the other way out of that room.
She'd probably stroke out, fall to the floor.
Let's see. We have some new patrons to say hello to. Jay, Bafflegab, Hayden, John, and Jordan all joined this week. $4 a month to join our Patreon to get access to uncut versions of these episodes, longer versions, and access to our Discord, and a whole lot of bonus episodes. Recent episode, Minari, I think was maybe our most recent one. Something we've never mentioned on the show before, but if you don't want to be a patron, you just want to like buy these individual episodes, you can. Someone bought Minari today. They didn't want to join the Patreon. You know what? I'm just going to buy this Minari episode to listen to it. You can. So this is real life. This happens.
It's crazy.
Danny watched the Star Wars Disney trilogy. Was it today?
The sequel trilogy.
The sequel, the Disney trilogy.
The sequel trilogy.
Is there another Disney trilogy?
The DT. I like that.
Thank
Disney
you.
trilogy.
What's going on at the Haas household?
What do you mean?
I know your lovely wife is like she cut out social media cold.
Yeah.
Right now. She's cut it all out with the exception of Reddit. So there's probably, you're probably trying to fill time in that house, right? Are you just putting those Blu-rays in for everyone to watch the Disney trilogy?
I don't really need an excuse to watch a perfect trilogy. No notes. So I was in the mood to watch the sequel trilogy. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love Star Wars.
Remember when Rey grabs the lightsaber in the snow scene at the end of Force Awakens?
Listen,
Where were
banger.
you when you experienced that in theaters?
Absolute banger. With weeping. I was on my knees, a triumph.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
No notes on that?
Followed by Ryan Johnson's triumph of a film, The Last Jedi.
God.
And then JJ came back and graced us again with one last banger,
Wow.
The Rise of Skywalker.
Triple triumph.
Never has Disney hit the mark so hard.
One day we'll get into the Disney
One day.
the Skywalker trilogy. Did you hear that
Sequel.
they're doing a new trilogy? We didn't
We
touch
said
on this
this
last week.
week. We
Did
did.
we say this last
We
week?
did. Yes.
Irvin
Simon
Kershner, yeah.
Kinberg. He is the man in charge. They signed a deal with Simon Kinberg, writer extraordinaire, producer. They said, give us a new Star Wars trilogy, and they wrote the check for Simon Kinberg.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Proto?
In all honesty, I have no idea who this guy is.
All right, just hold on. Let me just rattle off some things that Simon Kinberg has written and see if this maybe starts to get you a little bit excited for the next trilogy. X-Men Apocalypse. X-Men Dark Phoenix. Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes.
Did he direct these movies or just write them?
He's the writer. He's going to be writing these new movies for Disney.
Okay, and we don't have a director yet for these new movies.
He might even be directing it.
We don't
might
have
be
a
in the
director.
Okay.
Okay, can we, first of all, he's done
This is-
84 episodes of Star Wars Rebels. So can we pause on these shit movies you're talking
Did he
about?
write
Thank
those
you.
episodes of Rebels?
Yes.
Yes.
Can someone confirm that, please? I don't know if I trust that exasperated yes.
74 episodes
This is backfiring on Slim.
written by.
Listen, you can write something great and it could be turned to crap too.
Right.
I want to give this guy a chance.
Thank you.
I mean, it's only Star Wars.
How hard can
Right.
it be?
I mean, he only has to follow it up with a 15-star trilogy that Disney
Thank you.
pulled out, a masterpiece trilogy. It's not that big of a deal. I'm sure Kinberg is up to the task.
He produced Logan, Slim.
Listen,
He's a producer on
Danny,
Logan.
just mere 30 seconds ago, Danny said Kinberg wrote all episodes of Star Wars Rebels.
74.
He wrote several episodes of Star Wars
74.
Rebels. Is that Latin for several?
Severifor.
This is the kind of misinformation that we need to fight against, Grace points out in chat. It's everywhere. Where can you get your news? It's 70 millimeter. That's the only place to get your news. Okay, folks?
And we get it from ChatGPT.
Let's talk about Proto seeing early screening for The Brutalist. This movie is getting a lot of buzz. The only thing I know about it is like architecture, and there's a movie intermission, right? It's like long.
Yes.
I'm seeing it this weekend.
I'm seeing it Saturday too.
Well, I'm excited to hear what you guys think. Yes, The Brutalist is 3.5 hours long. It stars Adrian Brody. He is an immigrant who comes to America in 1947 to make a new life for himself, escaping the Nazis. So it follows him. And did I mention it's 3.5 hours long?
You did.
Yeah. So it has a 15-minute intermission somewhere in the middle of the movie, which I don't think I've seen an intermission since Gods and Generals. Probably. It's been a long time. And what else? The craziest thing that I cannot shake from this, and I feel like I'm being lied to, but it's being reported that this movie has a $6 million budget.
That's it.
I just don't understand. Well, partially you can understand it. When you see it, you'll know.
Oh, gosh.
One reason why. I mean, it looks good. It looks great, but they do some movie magic in it. But I'm like, doesn't it, like $6 million, does that even pay like the caterers at this point?
No.
That's a good point.
Maybe they didn't have caterers.
Maybe they starved.
Yeah, did they not rely on the unions? Is this one of those movies?
They asked Adrian to keep his receipts.
We are not alleging scab workers on The Brutalist, folks. Please, that was a joke.
Sorry, I don't even know what that. I don't understand any of that. Sorry, Movie Insider. But this is directed by Brady Corbett, who I haven't seen his other movies.
He also did Star Wars Rebels.
Wrote 70 episodes of Star Wars Rebels.
But he had a movie in 2018 called Vox Lux, which I remember when this came out.
Yeah.
Stars my girl Natalie Portman. So now I feel inclined to go back and watch that. But the Brutalist also has Guy Pearce. I think some great performances. Pretty cool movie. There's, you can read my review if you want to see some of the lines that I connect the dots to other movies.
3.5 hours with a 15-minute intermission. So what was your food situation like? Did you eat lunch beforehand? Did you get any food at the theater?
Yeah, that was important. I stopped at my local Wawa beforehand, and I stocked up on wintergreen lifesavers, and that carried me from 12 p.m. to 3:45.
My gosh.
That is like, I can't even think about just you sitting in a chair for nearly 4 hours, just only eating wintergreen lifesavers.
Just not even
I would have you arrested.
Crunching them.
I would have you arrested.
Just what I needed.
Do we want to talk about this penguin situation? Because you both logged the first season, maybe the only season of Pengy with Colin Farrell.
I don't think there will be a second season.
Was it all you hoped it would be? Was it a shocking end? This is no spoiler zone.
No spoilers. No.
Proto, it seemed like you really enjoyed this season.
Yeah, I think I had low expectations going in. I wasn't really sure what to expect. I had as if anyone listens to the end of our shows, makes it to the 90th percentile there. I loved the show as it was coming out. I thought it had great writing throughout. Colin Farrell is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
You watch 8 episodes of this, and still in the last episode, I would forget that it's him doing it.
Yeah,
he's just a great penguin. Could they do it better? I don't know if it's possible to do penguin better.
Oh, that's
bold.
Okay. You heard it here first.
Bold.
That's a steamer. That's a hot one. Danny, did you give it 5 stars? Did I see a 5?
Yeah, I definitely gave it 5 stars. I had a gripe with a bit of the finale, but overall, I think it's genius what they did as we wait for the second movie to come out and stuff to start releasing for that, to have us continue to live in this world that Matt Reeves has dreamt up for us for Batman. Yeah. Impressed with it. Impressed with Colin. Fantastic acting across the board, too.
We need to get that Batman 2 cooking.
I know. I know. I'm hype.
Please. We did get a Mission Impossible trailer.
Oh, my God.
The Final
You
Reckoning.
talk about...
Tell me.
You talk about pants moving. You talk about ready for one last ride.
Oh, my God.
My gosh.
One more time.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Is that confirmed that it's the last Mission Impossible movie? Or is that just marketing?
I think
it'll be the last one, yeah. I think it's it.
Done so. I mean, maybe they reboot with a new dude.
New dude.
I think Tom's done.
Who's your new dude? Is it Glenn Powell?
Glenn? I don't know. I don't know.
Glenn Powell has like become the new Chalamet, I feel like.
Oh, that's
where he's just talked about as every dream casting ever. Nice guy. I'm sure he's a great guy. Love him. Loved him in Twisters.
I saw Conclave, by the way.
Oh,
absolutely loved Conclave. Ralphie Fiennes plays head boy of the Conclave. A lot of voting in of a new pope, but the drama in that was so good. Such good writing. Really great cinematography. Man, I loved Conclave. Incredible.
Party, did you see that yet?
No, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm interested. Danny's review says Dan Brown found dead in a ditch. Totally inappropriate. I thought this movie came out a few years ago, and it was called Two Popes. This is a different movie?
I don't even know what Two Popes is about.
Two Popes even a movie? I think that's like an HBO series or something.
That was 100% a movie.
Ray Fiennes might have even been in Two Popes, for all we know. This might be his second Pope role. I don't know.
He's getting typecast.
Is he even the Pope in Conclave? No, he's like... Wait, okay. Mosh in chat says that's young Pope. So who was young?
Young Pope.
Who's in young
Jude
Pope?
Law. Yeah.
Oh, Jude Law was young.
There's young Pope and there's two Popes. How much Pope content do people need? Calm down.
Do you know how many Catholics there are?
Technically, there's only a dead Pope in the Conclave.
Just real briefly, I have accidentally stumbled into another James Bond journey.
I'm proud of you.
Pluto, the free to watch service on every device and refrigerator that you have. You can just fire up Pluto. There's a 007 channel. It's like,
that's crazy.
Imagine if TBS just played James Bond movies. So I fire that up and play it on while I work, and GoldenEye was on. And oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
GoldenEye looks great.
Yeah.
Because I'll come back to GoldenEye, but then like the next few started playing afterward, and they all look like butt compared to GoldenEye. Like they dropped the ball so hard with Pierce, I feel like. Because GoldenEye looks timeless. Even today.
Are you saying The World Is Not Enough didn't hold up for you?
Which one is that? Is that the one with Terry Hatcher?
Yeah, with the guy with the one-handed keyboard.
I can't stand that guy.
One of the two popes.
Or the tablet that he's pounding with his fingers to show everyone that he's using a tablet in whatever year the movie was made. We get it.
Oh, man.
I think Pierce looked great, too. Pierce is just very sexual. He's a sexual being in those films.
John Krasinski dead in a ditch.
When was the last time you watched GoldenEye, Proto?
Probably like TBS, early 2000s, I guess. I have no idea.
Am I pivoting my pick next week?
To GoldenEye?
Can you imagine?
GoldenEye.
You know, I may have never even seen it. It's just that I played the game, so I feel like I've seen it. They're like the same, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much step by step.
That's a great. Clarence in chat has a great idea. Sexual Pierce Brosnan month. I mean, we gave the vote to the Village
Crown affair
to choose Sexual Michael Douglas month
after
everyone told us they wanted that theme, and it lost.
Yeah.
I wish Sexual Michael Douglas month won. View to a Kill I rewatched. I saw Venom: The Last Dance in theaters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With my son. He wanted to see it.
How was that?
It was a Venom movie.
Yeah.
That's all you can really say.
Yeah.
But there's only like, when I bought the tickets, we were the only two people in that IMAX theater. When did that movie even come out? Did it make a lot of money? I feel like
it came out last weekend.
I slept through the release of that movie. Should we get into our movie? Gladiator?
Is it time?
Yeah.
What the
Someone's
French was
watch just beeped.
Someone's Casio just went off.
Sorry, it's my son's. It's on my desk.
Episode 244 of 70 millimeter podcast. My pick for November, Gladiator from Ridley Scott. Russell Crowe, Joaquin, Connie, Oliver. We went back to the year 2000. We had to go back. We always go back to the year 2000. Proto, what's this movie about?
Maximus Decimus Meridius leads a Roman army to a final victory over the Germanic tribes. He is their general. Emperor Marcus Aurelius plans to leave the empire to Maximus, but his beta son, Commodus, kills the emperor and commands Maximus to be put to death. Due to sticky swords, Maxi escapes and rides all the way home to Rome. Near death, he is captured and becomes a slave. He is sold to Proximo, who has him fight to the death in the arena. His prowess makes him a star, leading him to fight in the Colosseum as a gladiator. Revealing himself to the emperor, he gets the opportunity to enact his revenge on those that wronged him, 1v1 to the death with Beta Boy. He will die and become, finally, free. Gladiator.
Is Commodus the original incel?
There's a good argument for it.
Something to think about.
It might be inarguable, really. Man. Proto, where were you in the year 2000, and were you seeing Gladiator in theaters or soon after on VHS/DVD?
I was... When did this come out? Was this...
2000.
What? I'm looking for the month.
I'm going to go with June.
Okay. I think I was 12. I don't think I was allowed to see this in the theaters.
12.
Maybe?
You were...
God, how old
How
are
old
you?
are you?
French? I
We're
was
just now
1
figuring out
year
Proto's
away
age.
from graduating high
Yeah.
school.
Surprise, I'm younger than you guys.
I don't like this.
I don't know if I saw this in theaters, and I can't recall. I'll have to check my little stack. I have my little baggie of all my ticket stubs that I saved throughout the years. So I'll have to see if Gladiator is in there, if the ink is still active.
Oh,
so
my.
I'm not sure, but I will say that when me and my friends saw Gladiator, whenever that time was, this movie like became our lives.
Oh, no.
For a period of time.
Let's go.
It was like, what is the purpose in life? It's obviously to have a sword and to fight in the Roman army.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were losing our minds at what we were seeing on the screen. And I'm not sure if I'd ever seen anything like this before. And we'll get into it later where
We'll get into
kind
it.
of talking about the comparisons of other things at the time. But yeah, this movie changed me and my friends deeply.
Oh, my gosh.
Danny, were you changed as you were wearing your varsity jacket to sneak into Gladiator in theaters?
I kicked some nerd into the locker before I went to the theaters.
It was me.
Slip into a locker. I'm pretty sure this was a movie that we had a buddy that was a manager at our local Regal Cinemas, and he would sneak us in on Thursday nights at like 2 a.m. to watch whatever the new releases were coming out those weekends. And Gladiator felt like one of the ones I know we watched in the cinema, I think, but that was one of the ones that we got snuck in to see those nights. And yeah, I think this was like something like Proto said, it was just like a boys movie. This was something we made our whole identity after this. Are you not entertained? We probably screamed at Xbox on each other playing Halo 1.
What about Russell's hair in this movie? His little short forehead cut.
The South Philly special.
Where were you, Slim?
I think I saw this in theaters, but I definitely had it. I think we had it on DVD. And I remember my siblings always watching this movie. I feel like this was on like constantly. Like I had the soundtrack. I mentioned it last week and I was yelled at for saying it early, but I had the soundtrack. So when this movie started and the soundtrack was playing, like, oh yeah, it's all coming back, baby. Like the music, Hans Zimmer. Ever heard of him? Hans Zimmer score? Yeah. But the music that plays at like the end of the movie are the songs, and then like the like light hook that plays in certain scenes. But the end of this, honor him, and now you are free. Now we're free, whatever the hell it is. But man, this was played constantly. Like those tracks are incredible. But I haven't seen it, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
This was the first time.
Yeah.
And like, we'll get into it, but like, I feel like nobody talks about Gladiator anymore, right? Does anyone talk about Gladiator?
We grew up.
We found other movies. Gray says nobody talks about it for a good reason. I mean, I saw a few like 1 stars for Gladiator. I saw a few 2 stars in our community for this movie. So I wonder what nostalgia, I mean, I feel like I know the answer, but nostalgia feels like it plays a big part in this movie for people that like it a lot. It's just a guess. So my first note really for this movie, and one that just like absolutely floored me during the whole movie, where I was like flabbergasted. Hans Zimmer reused this music for Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Like,
yes.
Dude. If this was a different composer, there would be lawsuits. This movie would not be able to be released. It's the same frigging music. Did you guys, like, my heart almost stopped watching this movie. I was like, what's going on here?
I was looking for the Black Pearl. Like on the shore.
Jack Sparrow with his hands flailing as they run through the forest fighting the barbarians.
But I can't think of another composer that has done this, right? It's so similar to Pirates. Like if you put this music in Pirates, I would not second guess it.
Did you do it? Did you do a dive? Did you do a deep dive like I did on it?
I mean, I know that he came in late to Pirates.
No.
Okay. I don't know. No. That was misinformation I was fed.
I mean, he does do like the next 3 Pirates after the first one. Alan Silvestri was the first choice for Pirates. Then Bruckheimer kicked him out. There's actually like Pirates posters you can find with Alan Silvestri's name on it.
Oh.
They went to Han to do it, but his contract for The Last Samurai was not up, and he could not do any new music until The Last Samurai released. So that gave them like, I mean, honestly, like a week or 2 weeks to get new music for this movie. So like Hans has like this school of composers that he started. It's like a school or like a company. So the guy whose name is on the paper for this movie, he had him work on it as part of his company. And so he worked alongside of him, but it's not his name on the poster to be considered the composer of this film.
I'm even more confused.
It's crazy, right?
I will say the Last Samurai soundtrack is incredible. People haven't watched Last Samurai, just go listen to that soundtrack. It's amazing.
So the things that I've read and gathered was he wanted to like expand on the music that he created for this, and it's just like a riff that he just kept using for Pirates. He did also get sued for a song that he used in Gladiator, the Holtz or the Holst family. He used a piece about Mars or something, and he got sued for using that, and then they settled outside of court. So he did get sued for another piece of music he used in Gladiator.
So to avoid being sued, he just used his own music. He's like, I can't sue myself.
Yeah, he referenced himself for Pirates.
But yeah, I mean, it's been 20 years since I watched this movie, and I had no memory of the music being so similar. But that's my first note. Proto, what about you?
Let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
I was talking about earlier about just like how this movie changed me and my friends. I feel like part of that was when I think of this movie, I think of my experience of watching this opening scene of them in fighting this tribe, and how like visceral this felt. And unlike anything I had seen up until this point. I was trying to think of like, what was my experience before this? Like movies that would have been impactful, and like movies that came out before. I mean, I know there's like Braveheart, but I don't think I saw Braveheart at this point.
We were too young for Braveheart.
Yeah.
I was too young, so you definitely were in the womb probably when that came out.
But there's a movie we watched a lot growing up called First Night, starring
Heath Ledger.
Oh wait, no, I'm not. No. You're thinking of. Crap. Now, wait, what is that movie called? I'm thinking of First Night starring Sean Connery and Richard Gere. Oh, A Knight's Tale. Yeah, that's the Heath Ledger. Danny. But like medieval movies or even like action movies that were really visceral. Also, I like another movie I think it was like Saving Private Ryan. But again, like I hadn't seen that. So I think this, in terms of like action, dudes fighting in battle, the way like this is even shot, like the slow-mo, the drama that's drawn out and the way it looks. I mean, it just looks incredible with the snow, the tribe, the barbarians, the way they're dressed. Like I was just taken right in by that scene. And it won me over. So I love that. And when I think of this movie, that's often the thing I think of first is like my experience seeing it.
Yeah, I feel like this would be maybe people like in our age group, but like our first historical epic, probably that we would have seen. Like we're not watching Lawrence of Arabia, when we're in high school or younger. This is like our first kind of, let's go to the movies. What's this movie where people getting cut up by swords in Rome? Like, let's go see that. And I think a lot of my viewing is like similar to that, where this felt like the biggest movie ever when I saw this. And when I rewatched it for years after, because like I think this probably kicked off many like a resurgence in historical epics. Like they were like maybe profitable again, because I think this made like almost $500 million, this movie. So directors are probably licking their lips like, oh, is this back again? Can we do this again? Because like I'm the same way. Like I forgot so much of this movie, but like the memories started to come back. Like, oh my God, this like blew me away when I first saw it.
That first barbarian scene is absolutely nuts. I mean, that's when we first hear the Pirates score, which is amazing. I had to look up some of the filming of it, and that scene, they actually burned down a forest in IRL.
What?
They had to get like they found out that the forest was getting like leveled, and so they went to like wherever the forestry and asked if they could, tear it down themselves, and he literally burned it down themselves. And they were apparently like only like 7 miles from the Gatwick airport. So it's like, imagine flying over and seeing Roman soldiers and a fire burning down a forest right next to your airport. But anyway, that first scene's bonkers. Just incredible.
Hannah asked, does Titanic count as a historical epic? I mean,
I would say yes.
Yeah, I feel like this is almost like Titanic for boys, right? Like when we were younger. Not like a sweeping gender statement, but like when we were younger, like
that was
this
a sweeping gender statement.
I'm saying in the year 2000.
Because I like Titanic.
This was our Titanic. Listen, we all love Titanic. We did a Titanic episode. But at the time, I feel like
I've never seen you sweat so hard in my life.
I've already cut out my comments on the Catholic Church. I can't cut out more sweeping statements on gender norms. Danny, top of your list.
Yeah. So we all watched, I'm assuming we all watched the 4K for this. And I was a little bit hesitant thinking about the 4K because I don't remember how much CG was used, the Colosseum, etc. And I thought this film looked gorgeous in 4K. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get over how well it transferred. I felt myself trying to poke holes into some of it, like when they get to the Colosseum in Rome, and maybe there's a little bit of wonkiness, but man, everything about the close-ups on Maximus, and you could see the amount of face paint on Proximo to make him tanner. I mean, I thought it looked great. I mean, I couldn't get over how good this film looked in 4K. especially when we get to, the first kind of battle, which is like my favorite scene of the film. Not the first battle, but the first big fight in the Colosseum when Maximus reveals himself to Caesar. I mean, that whole scene is just, it gives me the chills. That's like one that I viscerally remember as a kid watching. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I thought this whole film looked great in 4K. I think the transfer looked really good.
Yeah. Where did we watch this? Was this Paramount Plus?
Paramount Plus had the 4K, yeah.
Bravo. But also like them walking into Rome or them showing like your entrance into the main city.
Yeah.
I thought it looked great.
Yeah, it still looked really good.
I don't like another sweeping statement about CGI, but I felt like it was done so well that I was like, this looks realistic. Like how it would feel if I'm walking through the city streets. And then like the outside of the Colosseum, I thought it all held up pretty well. Like, I thought it looked great. I agree with you.
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty good. I think some of it looks pretty smooth, like the Colosseum stuff. But you think of like the time, a year before this, it was Phantom Menace. And it almost feels kind of similar, just like the look of the CGI, where it's like there's not enough detail.
Or rubbery.
Yeah, like I would love for maybe George Lucas to make a pass at Gladiator and touch up those scenes.
George making a pass at Gladiator.
Right, because we talked about it previously, but like the overhead shots of the Colosseum and people walking in, remember that was like a groundbreaking moment for technology with like thousands of people walking into the Colosseum, and then also the shots of the people in the Colosseum. Danny, did you watch a making of? I have a feeling.
No, I didn't get to see enough of it. I mean, I looked at some photos and it looked like they had built maybe like the first level of like Colosseum to shoot in with a ton of extras, but then everything else was blue screen to the sky. Incredible stuff that they had to do.
George, thank you. George Lucas adding more of the pirate score into his pass at Gladiator. Let's see. Next on my list, I was also blown away by Oliver Reed in this. That character, the guy who was kind of running the
Proximus.
Yeah, Proximus in charge of like the fighters. That was a character that I probably maybe slept through when I was younger or like in high school. Like, yeah, who's this guy? Give me more Russell Crowe. But like on this viewing, where was Oscar for Oliver Reed? I know posthumous Oscar didn't call either, but
then listen to me. Learn from me. I wasn't the best because I killed quickly. I was the best because the crowd loved me. Win the crowd, and you'll win your freedom.
Sure, it was great. And another thing, I didn't even realize that there was like a big CGI to do with him because he died while filming. So there's a scene that they... Yeah, I didn't even catch it watching it. I had to read about it after. But the scene where he goes to Maximus in the cell and frees him from the cell, and he's like, he has this very specific line to him. He's like, "Are you in danger of becoming a good man, Proximus?" That line. That's a CGI face on a double because he had died by that point. So they reused footage of his face and put it on a double for that entire shot. Like that, he was not there filming that. In the year 2000. So like the whole face wasn't CGI'd. They just like took it from existing footage and then put it onto a double's face. So it wasn't like a computer generated his entire face. So I was pretty blown away by that. I didn't notice it watching it. But the character himself, I loved. He was one of my favorite parts. I'm not sure if either of you felt the same way on this viewing. Amazing actor, Oliver Reed.
It's so funny that you mentioned that of just like when you were younger, not like, where's Maximus? I think the first time I saw this movie, I don't think I even understood who Proximo was or that he was like, like owned these guys and like this was part of it. It was like, it was just kind of like, who's this character? So it's so funny when you go back and you watch a movie. Yeah. You saw when you're young, you just like missed half of it. I was thinking that with some of the lines that were said in this, I was like, dang, some of the writing in this is just like really great. I loved a lot of it that I felt like I was hearing for the first time.
Yeah, a lot of bangers. I mean, the famous one, the father to a murdered son speech. And then I also read that and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next was like ad-libbed by Russell Crowe.
Oh my
Or
God.
was not in the script. Maybe he came up with it like that morning or something. Have mercy. Please. Danny?
Yes. I touched on it real quick, but I want to go back to my favorite scene in the movie is the first fight scene in the Coliseum. And I loved, a lot of it I love is because it's the setup of this fight being a retelling of a story that had historically happened. And they are counting on that their gladiators, Rome's fighters, will just destroy the gladiator slaves that they have brought in to tell this retelling of the story. And Russell, Maximus as the great leader that he is, bands them all together with the power of his leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And they fight and destroy, like absolutely wreck and body these Roman soldiers that come in. That whole sequence is like a masterpiece in action filmmaking. I mean, like Ridley is in his full stride in those scenes. And then to have like the moment, like for that to be like, for it to end with the Praetorians coming out and Caesar having Maximus take off the helmet, the insanely badass helmet that he just pulls off a table to wear. And that interaction, like wrapping up that scene, is like a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't get over how good that scene is. It just gives me the chills every time.
Yeah, that chick with the bow and arrow.
Oh my gosh.
And they're just like circling that area, and then she gets cut in half.
Absolutely destroyed.
Oh my God.
Just absolutely destroyed.
Body.
I didn't even know that's what that thing was doing on the side of the car. I didn't know it could slice someone in half.
Yeah,
like
that
butter.
was nuts. That was nuts. I also love too how they're like coming up with a plan in the 30 seconds that they're in the middle of the arena, and then one dude off camera is like, "I served with you at so and so." Like, what? You just been hanging out this whole time? You didn't think to bring that up at any point while you were in a dungeon for however long? That was crazy.
Yeah, that scene has great editing too. There's like the moment where the one guy, he's like the big bulky guy, and he's like not in the group, and he pulls up his shield and he like catches a spear with it. That is like singed into my brain for whatever reason. Like just that 1 second frame.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a lot of things like that in this movie that I think of, just like these little moments that for some reason I like always remember them. Another one is at the beginning where he's going to be executed, and he fights and escapes, and then he just yells like Praetorian, and then it cuts to the guy who's like, it's like this guard just sitting on a horse like drinking, and he like looks over and he just like chucks it. There's something just about like how that is all done that it like makes it iconic in my mind.
Mm-hmm. How about what is he asked for like a soldier's death in that scene, so the guy changes the angle of his sword to go like right down his spine.
Yeah.
And then
I still don't even know what he did to
I don't
knock the
either.
sword.
I was thinking about it. He
know.
somehow like headbutts the guy, but like, wait, wasn't the sword there? It doesn't make any sense.
How that works.
Proto, next on your list.
Watching this again, I found this movie incredibly stylish and almost kind of not risky, but doing things that are not necessarily safe for a filmmaker or away from what Ridley Scott has done in his other movies, at least from what I can remember. Like I've seen a lot of his movies, but just there's certain things they do in this that just really stands out. The biggest thing is like the dream sequences that he has. I love that dream sequence where he's first captured as a slave, and it shows him where it looks like he's like laying on a dolly, and it's just like he's not moving, but the ground is below him moving, and it creates that like cool effect. And then he's like being cared for as they're being like transported, and those shots to like his wife and son, and like those fields, like all that stuff. It feels, I don't know if risky, but like it just feels like pretty far out there in terms of like what this movie. I mean, we're talking about a historical epic, set in Rome, but some of those things are pretty, I think, bold in terms of filmmaking and kind of out there for Ridley.
Yeah, some of the like those slow motion, but then also like sped up black and gray or blue shots. They're really weird.
Yeah,
they almost feel like more modern Ridley. That what like stuff I would consider today. Like they had to have been so weird in 2000.
I think he did that slow motion in Napoleon too.
Oh, oh my God! Remember Napoleon?
Absolute garbage film.
I'm Napoleon.
I was looking at his filmography though, like, so he does Alien in 79, does Blade Runner in 82, and then 18 years later, he drops Gladiator. Like, I would think, like, aren't most directors, you're like retired at that point? Like, is your career over? Like, he drops another banger. And then after this, I mean, he had so many movies in the early 2000s, just like one after another. I mean, he had Hannibal and Black Hawk Down both in 2001. Same year.
What's
and then your theory about like the historical epic? 5 years later, he did Kingdom of Heaven. So maybe there was.
When was Thelma and Louise? 91? 91.
Yeah.
Jetty Bear in chat points out that I forgot to do the top 3 Mount Rushmore. Top 3 Ridley Scott films. Did not ask. Thank you, Jetty Bear. Proto, you start.
Well, I feel like it's kind of boring if you include Alien and Blade Runner.
Yeah, I know. That's gotta be.
Don't include them.
I'm not including them. What was the movie I was thinking of that I saw? Oh, I love The Last Duel. I thought that was great.
I never saw that.
Especially like because it's another historical epic. It's set in medieval times. Adam Driver. I think it's Ben Affleck. It's a great cast. It's a great story. Jodie Comer in that is amazing. That movie just did not get enough credit. So I love that. I remember loving Matchstick Men, but I haven't seen that in 20 years.
Does that hold up? Does it hold up month?
It's not a bad idea.
I feel like there was one more. Maybe Prometheus? I don't know.
I mean, when you remove Alien and Blade Runner, it makes it harder.
He only has 38 films.
I know. What percentage? I'm trying to look to see what some of my ratings. I mean, I really liked Prometheus on a recent rewatch. I give it 4 stars on a recent watch this year.
I haven't seen The Martian since the theater. That's the problem. I need to rewatch that sometime soon.
I remember liking The Martian. Let me see. Do I have
I do too, but I don't really remember it. I mean, Thelma and Louise would be up there for me.
Of course.
I mean, if we're taking away Alien and Blade Runner, I have nothing else.
Dang. You ever seen Body of Lies?
Body of Lies?
No, I didn't hear it.
It's familiar.
Is that the one with DiCaprio?
Yeah. Yeah. I watched that on my honeymoon, actually.
Oh.
No
It's all
comment.
making sense.
Legend is probably up there. Maybe. I have fond memories rewatching Legend. I always think about like how, and there's an interesting story about why I thought there will never be a 4K of Legend. I won't go into it. Just Google it.
Please.
Maybe Gladiator 2. I haven't seen it yet, but it could be up there.
Oh my. Are you putting it in your top 3 right now?
It's like an Eggers moment.
I'm not doing that. I'm not re-egging. But I will say, so I haven't watched any trailers, I don't think, for Gladiator 2. Do you guys know who Paul Mescal's playing in that movie? Proto, do you know?
No.
He's playing Lucius. The boy.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The mom's in it too. Same actress.
And I actually, during this watch, so like when I watched it, I had no idea who he was playing. And in this movie, I was like thinking, wait, does he play this little kid And is this kid actually Maximus's son? Like out of, like an affair that they had? Because they talk about them like being young lovers. And I'm just wondering, like, who cares if Lucius is the star of Gladiator 2 if he's just like the nephew of Maximus? Like, so I'm wondering if there's like some reveal or something. I don't know. I have no intel. I have no knowledge. I just was wondering that.
It is interesting that they went with Paul for this because the actor that played Lucius is still acting. He was in Salem's Lot.
The new one?
What?
Yes.
Wait, did he play the lead?
No, the lead was Pullman.
Paxton, is that Paxton's son?
No.
Oh, Pullman.
God damn it.
Spencer Treat Clark.
Yeah, he was Mike.
This kid can't be glad. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying he should be. It is interesting that they just didn't cast him again or try to. I don't know if they didn't try to or not.
Black Hawk Down, I remember really enjoying. I don't know. I think I gave 3. That's just like so weird how you take out Alien and Blade Runner. It like sucks the air out of the discussion. I mean, that was Proto's idea, folks.
It's a sick
There's
move.
a lot of great movies.
It's a sick
but I haven't seen them like really at all recently. I just remember Exodus, Gods and Kings. Wasn't that
no
like,
one remembers that. Christian Bale.
Christian Bale
really
and
don't
Joel
remember
Edgerton as
I don't want to look at those eyebrows.
as Egyptians. Aaron Paul, Ben Mendelsohn. Wonder if he played a bad guy in that movie. Do you think? We have a voicemail to get to. Let's listen to that voicemail right now before we continue our discussion.
What up, 70mm pod? It's Alejandro again, man. It's crazy that I mentioned Gladiator in my VM last week, and here we are watching it. That's pretty awesome. This movie is basically Braveheart, except Maximus's family gets literally no lines, and then it's also an interesting comparison because Braveheart won Best Picture in '95, and then the next 4 winners were English Patient, Titanic, Shakespeare in Love, and American Beauty. Then, just when Best Picture was about to start taking low T meds, Gladiator came kicking down the door with enough testosterone to kill an Oliphant. The film is awesome, but it also has a lot of flaws because I feel like I've seen the best parts a million times. So when I was watching it this time, I'm like, does the camera work always been this frenetic? Have the first 45 minutes always been this boring? Once he's about to get assassinated and he's like, sometimes the blade sticks in the winter and the frost, I was in. But yeah, it's a 4-star movie. It's awesome. What can you say? Slim asked last week, what if M. Night Shyamalan directed The Northman? I don't know, but it seems like he definitely watched Gladiator because the kid who played Lucius in Gladiator played Bruce Willis' son in Unbreakable, and Mel Gibson stars in Braveheart. So he saw both of those movies and then decided to cast William Wallace as a priest and Commodus as his loving brother because he's got such great sibling energy. And then he's like, yeah, I'll kill the main character's wife, myself this time. And then her words literally echo in eternity to save the family. Boom, you get signed 2 years later. Fun fact, first movie logged in my letterbox because I still have the ticket stub from 2002. Man, what a time to be alive. Oh, also, top 3 revenge movies, Taken, The Count of Monte Cristo, and The Mask of Zorro. And real quick, I know we're all pretty we're still reeling from this past week, but just do what I'm going to do. Rewatch Andor and get ready to fight the Empire, you rebel scum. Also, we should do a Village rewatch. I haven't watched that movie in 20 years. I hated it when I left the theater, and I'm ready to reassess it. All right, guys, bye.
Wow. That was a jam-packed VM.
That was a great episode from Alejandro.
That's a full podcast episode.
It's like a UFO we can release to patrons.
Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
Count of Monte Cristo, I remember loving a lot.
Yeah, I do
when
too.
I saw that movie.
Leonardo in that? Gosh.
Yeah.
Wait, Leonardo was in The Count of Monte Cristo?
No, he's the man in the Iron Mask.
Man in the Iron Mask.
Iron Mask.
I mean, did that also rip? I'm going to have to watch that again.
Three Musketeers?
There's probably a
Rip
channel
month.
on Pluto that's playing all these movies back to back to back. Let me see if I have any other ones. I mean, my final note is this won't affect my rating, but I almost feel like I remembered this, and maybe you two disagree, being more epic. I feel like it was more muted in, the rest of the movie. He tries to overthrow Commodus, but there's 2 main fights, and then there's a lot of drama. There's still a lot of discussion and kind of backdoor speaking, in his little house with his sister, and there's a lot more talking that I remember. And maybe I blocked that out from when I was younger because I only remember just crazy action, great music, and great lines. But there were a lot of like slow points. Like I forgot entirely his like plan to overthrow with his helper coming back. God.
Get that subplot out of here.
I honestly like completely forgot that entire plot. That's like 30, 40 minutes of this movie.
Ridiculous.
And it gets screwed up. Like that dude gets hung and then he gets bow and arrowed in the body as he's being hung. Like that dude got screwed.
That play was over before it started.
Yeah. And like, but I did like hearing like, you know, your army, I wrote it down somewhere, but like the men are with you or they're waiting to hear your next move. Like the idea that he still has like an army at his command is super cool. Like he just needs to get word to them and they're going to like storm the city. So Pro, I don't know if you felt the same way. I mean, you had high expectations when you saw it and memories when you were younger, but like, did it all hold up for you?
I think for the most part, I think it holds up. I kind of remembered it being the way it was. I was trying to count of like, all right, how many action scenes are there? Because I knew that, I mean, he's a slave. He's captured as a gladiator when the only action scenes are him in the arena. So
yeah.
It's really like, it's like the opening scene. He has 2 fights in Proximo's arena, and then he has like 2 fights in the Coliseum. And that's it. Like that's 5 or maybe 3 fights in the Coliseum because he has the one at the end. So that's like 6 scenes. And then everything in between, I mean, he's captured. He's just having conversations other than the like 4 or 5 scenes where Commodus is trying to get it on with his sister, which we could have maybe cut out 1 or 2 of those.
All of them.
He was so horny. It was off the charts.
I mean, you could cut out any time Joaquin was talking in this film. That'd be great.
My God.
Hello.
What about his
chode
What about
in this
his
film.
Well, yeah, he was definitely a chode, but
No, he sucked at this role too.
What?
Oh, I hate that. I couldn't
No.
take any of it seriously.
Stop.
I thought he was great as the character of Commodus. I mean, I thought remember that scene where he's with Dumbledore, as Proto used to call him, in the tent, and he's like,
oh man,
he's like saying how much he like would have loved a hug as a kid or like any kind of positive reinforcement. I actually loved all their interplay as a family when he's like, he talks to Connie, he's like, let's pretend that you were a loving daughter and I was a great father. And I think she says some line. She's like, this is a pleasant fiction, isn't it? So I love that stuff. I thought Joaquin was amazing, personally.
I think I expected him to be more, I remember him being more evil. And I just found him insufferable. I thought his performance sucked. I didn't enjoy him at all in this. I was just like, get it out. Anytime they weren't fighting really though, I was like, this is boring.
See, I feel like he is supposed to be insufferable though. So I can see like when there's
not
an
like
actor.
Good insufferable. It was just like, I'm embarrassed this is your performance watching
Oh,
this.
No. He plays this perfect to a T.
No.
I think in terms of like a spoiled Roman emperor's son, like this is perfect. I think.
Yeah.
Like he's so smug and he thinks he has it figured out and he thinks he's a warrior because he has like 5 swordsmen training him. And then, I mean, that speech he has with his father about the virtues, that was a scene like I feel like I don't remember at all. And I was like experiencing for the first time. And his monologue to his dad about the virtues that he has and like Joaquin doing it in that like whispery voice that he does, like squeaky little voice. I love that. I think it's perfect.
A lot of this could have just been avoided if Maximus would have just shaken his hand. Like, like this is the emperor. Shouldn't he just maybe be a slightly political and be like, I should probably shake his hand maybe just once before I leave here and leave town. Right? Like all of this could have been avoided. Your family would be alive. One handshake.
Right. Shake their hands and then go out and tell your boys that we have to arrest the emperor.
Yeah. In fact, if you see him in the bushes, knife him immediately. I shook his hand, but we don't need to talk about it.
Pants him first, then knife him.
Give him a little knife, okay? Danny, final notes? Final point?
No, we got into it. I didn't like Joaquin in this at all. That was my final kind of notes.
That is shocking to me.
Yeah, what a snoozer. You know what he reminded me of? You know that scene in is it it's Phantom Menace when the Palpatine like struts out to like give good news to someone
Mhm.
That's what it reminded me of, like him walking out onto the just a chode. I wanted something to like trip him.
I mean, speaking of Phantom Menace, was the voice of Watto in this movie? With the original
That's
slave
who?
owner when he's talking to
Oh.
Oliver Reed? Like, because that guy's voice was almost identical to Watto.
I think he's in Indiana Jones, isn't he, that guy?
Katie in chat, I thought that too, in caps. Thank you, Katie. Full
Okay,
vindication right
We
now.
have the internet right in front of us. Why don't you
Well, I don't know
look
if
it up?
anyone can verify this. There's probably
We're
no
gonna get
way
to the
for us
bottom
to
of
check
this.
if that's the same actor, but it definitely sounded like it. We have another VM. Let's just play one more VM.
Yeah,
It's
please.
Gladiator before we hear Proto's final thoughts and wrap up. Do we have one more? Let's see. Yes. Okay. Hold, please.
Fellas, it is your occasional chat participant, Rude Boy Pete here.
Rude boy.
Slim, when you announced Gladiator was going to be the next pick, the way I fell out of my chair. This film was everything to me in the early aughts. I'd like to recount a brief memory. I went to the local Clearview cinemas, which is where I went all the time, and watched Gladiator. My mind was blown, thrown against the wall, beaten down, put back in my skull. I approached one of the guys working at the cinema at that time who had a whole bunch of Gladiator swag, and he had little,
Sandals?
like 12 by 14 movie posters for Gladiator, and he was just kind of giving them away. And I was like, I would like one, sir. And he was like, okay, do you want more than one? And I was like, yeah, obviously I want more than one, whatever you got. And he proceeded to hand me like 14 Gladiator posters. I went home and I put them all on my bedroom wall.
My God.
It became my whole personality for some time. To the point where even friends that I've made in recent years who are also Gladiator aficionados, shout out to my guy Eric, will constantly share the affection, hey man, go touch wheat instead of go touch grass. The intimate scene. Love you guys. Very excited for this episode. Godspeed to us all.
I think we tapped into something with Gladiator. Something long dormant in our community, in a portion of our community.
Strength and honor.
Was that everything? Danny, do you have any honorable mentions?
They're
Final
real
rating?
tigers. They're real tigers, and one almost actually attacked Russell. Okay, it just barely missed him. When he falls back into that pit, it got almost swiped him in real life. So
Ridley burned down a forest and used real tigers next to
they're real
Russell
tiger,
Crowe.
and the what we see on screen, holding the chain with the one pin in the ground, that's how they were keeping him back.
Wow.
I want
From
this sounds
from the
illegal.
actors.
Everything sounds illegal. What happened on
Yeah.
the set?
Insane. That's about it. Yeah.
Let's hear it. Give us the rating.
I think I said before Northman that like I think I'm just not, these aren't my movies anymore. I don't enjoy, I don't know. I have to do some soul searching because I'm not in love with this kind of cinema anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why. I do love every fight scene in this. I think it's a lot of fun. I think they're incredibly shot. I think Russell's amazing in this film. But anytime there's not a fight scene, I'm super bored in this film. I don't enjoy it anymore. So I need to go on sabbatical from these films and just think things over.
Jeez.
Really is what I'm saying. So I'll say 4 stars.
Oh my God.
I'll play it safe. I'll hedge my bets.
Everyone with a negative rating in chat feeling so excited, like, yeah, we got him. I was right. No, you didn't have him. You never had him.
You never had your car.
Wow.
Let me see honorable mentions that I have. How about him washing his hands in that dirty ass blood water?
I'm not sure what was it. Wine?
That water is not something you need to be washing your hands in.
And then he like slapped someone on the chest
Oh
with
my
his wet ass
God.
hands.
Yeah, it was gross. Them discussing, before they fought those barbarians, when he was talking to his soldiers, man, they were all in love with him as a general. Is he the greatest general in history, Maximus? People should know when they're conquered. He did the dirt thing. So is this where CM Punk gets it from?
Yes. I don't know.
CM Punk should be sued.
He sounded so confident.
What we do in life echoes in eternity.
Oh,
The snot on those feet.
Rest in peace, snot feet.
I never want to see that again in my life. Don't put it in chat.
My next line. Wait, is this the pirate score or? Yeah, he fights for Rome, but he's never been in Rome. I was thinking about that for a little while. Like,
how does that work?
They have that conversation where he just wants to talk. Remember with Dumbledore?
mm-hmm.
And he's like, let's just talk. Let's just talk. Sit and talk. And I just found that fascinating. Like, what is it about Rome that you're fighting for? He's like, you've never been there. He's like really digging at him. But also, I mean, his estate, Maximus's estate.
Oh my God.
Are you frigging for real?
Jesus.
How many acres is that? That's like $1 billion estate today.
Yeah.
Easy.
Cripes alive.
The farming alone.
Richard Harris.
When that child's body hit the front of those horses.
Oh my God, he got annihilated.
Absolutely wrecked.
So also, yeah, because I didn't look up Gladiator 2, I was like, wait, did this kid survive? Is he Paul Mescal? And then I saw his burnt body and I was like, okay, maybe he's not Paul
His
Mescal.
burnt crucified body.
So I also he's called the Spaniard. I tried to Google, where was his estate in this movie? Like, where did Maximus live? I think it's called Hispania, which,
can you say that?
That's what it was called back then. And I think obviously is now like Portugal/Spain. So then I was like, well, how far is Portugal, Spain from Rome? It's like 1,000, 1,500 miles or something. Like where he would have lived. It would have taken him
kilometers.
It would have taken him like a month to get to Rome by horse. That's all the legwork I did this week. Incredible scene with father and son. The music, good Lord. Yeah, the music pumping up when Joaquin is talking to him in the tent. Remember they hug and the music gets so loud when they're hugging. It's so dramatic, and then he eventually does the death hug. Pretty incredible. There's a scene with Joaquin in the Senate. Remember he first appears in the Senate and they're all kind of laughing at him? Mm-hmm. The audio of his leather vest in that scene just moving was so cool. I loved it. I had my AirPods
when he was
in.
spinning the sword on the tile?
That scene, yeah. There's a scene where he's standing and you can just hear the leather rippling. I have a lot of things that just say this is sick. This helmet is sick. This fight is sick. Chick ripped in half. I'm terribly vexed. Tell the men their general lives. Are you in danger of becoming a good man? Yeah, I mean, I still had an amazing time watching this. It doesn't hold up as well as my young memory of this movie, to the point where I started to answer my own question of why don't people talk about Gladiator anymore? I feel like it's just been replaced by other quote unquote epics, whether they're historical epics or not. So I'm torn between 4.5 stars and 4 stars.
We're also not going through puberty anymore.
That's true. I said a scandalous statement earlier that might not be in the show anymore, but I feel like I was pretty confident in what I said. But we were young men. This holds a very special place in our heart if you grew up with this movie.
Yeah. Formative.
Yeah.
Proto.
Oh, what was your rating?
He didn't give one.
It's between a 4 and a 4.5.
Okay.
Stay tuned to my Letterboxd for confirmation.
Look to the east.
Yeah, I thought Joaquin was so good in this. I feel like that scene in the beginning put him on the map. Put him on the friggin' map. Proximo holding that other man's balls for way too long. it was like a 30 seconds he's got a grip there. Like at some point it's like you're making a point, but it's starting to get uncomfortable for multiple reasons.
Like I said, Titanic for boys.
The "my name is Gladiator" line, gosh, just like the most BA thing. Mm-hmm. Saying that and then turning your back on the Emperor. Gosh.
Oh my God.
I thought it was funny, like the whole balance between Maximus having the support of the people. I didn't really remember that as much, I feel like, from when I watched it when I was younger. And just like, oh, he has the people. And it, like the Emperor Commodus being like really worried about that. But I was also like, couldn't someone just like stab this dude and like kill him? And then like, I mean, there's no video or anything. Like you just never talk about Maximus again. Like, is it really that big of a deal that this gladiator is like a big, I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny. Oh, the dude whose job was to put the snake in the bed to kill the senator. Oh my God. Imagine your job is like snake assassin. Just like have these snakes trained. Like, all right, Bill, it's time.
Snake assassin. No locks on any doors. No doors in any of these houses, really.
No. Doors weren't invented yet.
Yeah, curtains.
The scene of Cicero, his assistant guy, hanging in the moonlight, that was even though it's like not necessary, I agree there's a lot of this movie that could have been cut out. That scene looks sick though.
Yeah, it did. How about like 3,000 soldiers just hiding until that moment? Like they're all just like crouched on the bridge waiting for Maximus to find his friend that's hung. And then they all just like stand up and like, ha, we've been here the whole time, idiot.
You know, once you see it, it's really hard to unsee, but like Ridley Scott, it's like every single movie, there's a woman being abused in some way. And even in this, it's just like, oh my gosh, here it is. And this is like maybe like the least of movies, but it's like a creep, attacking his sister basically for the whole movie. It's like, oh my God.
Something to think about.
Her character arc is very interesting because like at the onset, she almost feels like evil Roman, potential leader. But then she has like a turnaround where she becomes like independent and she has that like powerful line at the end of the movie. Like it's like flipped on its head a little bit because I don't know if that journey entirely works for me, at least for that character.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I feel like she's kind of half-baked. Like she doesn't get the full treatment to kind of maybe take some action that, I mean, I guess she does try to like side with Maximus. So she kind of like shoots her shot there. But Connie Nielsen, I think she's great in this. There's like certain moments where her freezing in front of Commodus and just trying to survive and hold it together, it is really well done.
She's in the second one. Mm-hmm. She apparently reprises her role. Spoiler.
Connie, come on. I agree. I feel like it doesn't hit as hard as it did when I was younger. Actually, when I was watching this, my daughter, she came in and she was watching a bit with me, and she's like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "This is Gladiator." Like this movie,
wake up.
This movie meant something. This is important. I was like, "What you're watching? Like, look at this scene." It was like the scene where he's becoming a slave. I was like, "Just look how this is done. Are you seeing this? Like, what do you think?" And I was trying to like draw her out what she thought of it. She was completely unfazed. So I don't know. I mean, she's young, but give her time. So it doesn't hit me as hard as it did, but it's so fun to go back and like relive this movie. I feel like I'm back. I can remember how I felt watching this for the first time, and that's pretty special. So I'm at 4 stars as well.
Oh, okay.
Mamma mia.
Okay. Fun discussion. Great. I was so excited to rewatch this. I'm always delighted when I can like pick a movie or someone picks a movie that I haven't seen in so long that it's like, yes, finally I can kind of like force myself to watch it because I mean, I can't remember the last time really I thought about Gladiator to begin with. Speaking of picking movies.
Oh,
It's time.
Our last live recording of 2024
gosh. No
before
pressure.
our December plans are announced. Danny's pick.
So I picked a movie that both of you have seen, but neither of you have starred. You both only gave it hearts. And on one of your reviews, you guys have a back and forth in the comments, the two of you.
Oh my God.
Proto ends his review saying, "Some movies are dreams. This one is one of them." And Slim goes, "No rating, interesting." And Proto says, "My ways are not your ways." Just classic. Just classic, the two of you bantering. But I would like to end the year, our last live recording, going back to 1982, Steven Spielberg's E.T.
Oh my, what?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's time.
Huh?
It's our time.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, is there a more appropriate movie than what is coming out in the Senate right now than E.T.?
Oh my
I know.
God.
I got the chills.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I haven't watched this as an adult.
Oh.
I have this just marked as watched. It's not even logged.
Yeah.
Henry Thomas, Drew Barrymore,
They're back.
Erica Eleniak, CC Dale. What's the IMDb description for E.T.? A troubled child summons the courage to help a friendly alien escape from Earth and return to his home planet. Hello.
D. Wallace back on the show.
Hello.
Amblin.
Oh my God. Is this the originator of the Amblin vibes? Did this start at all? This is a rental. It's also, yeah, it's a rental. I was about to say streaming on FlixFling, but that's not streaming. It's just a rental service.
My assumption is everyone owns this. That's not somewhere.
Everyone has a VHS of this.
Yeah.
Everyone has
it's available.
a 4K. The 4K on Amazon rental is $379 right now. Black Friday special.
There you go.
Isn't there
I
something
actually have the laser disc of this.
Oh, can we get that thrown up on YouTube so we can watch the Laserdisc version? Wasn't there something that like they removed the guns in a special edition? Is that in the 4K or is that been
No, they brought them
fixed?
back.
They brought the guns back.
The guns are back.
Welcome to America, E.T. Okay, great pick. I'm excited to watch this.
Yeah, I'm
Big
excited.
family watch.
Get the family together.
Everyone gather your family around the television if you have one. If you don't have it, a nuclear family, open up the Discord and
We'll be your family.
chat with your movie family as you watch E.T. Proto, any closing thoughts?
Oh, yeah, I was going to talk about Penguin, but we kind of already talked about that. Let's see. Man, I watched a lot of movies that I didn't get to mention.
Okay.
Speaking of movies we want to do on the show, gosh, I watched 2 this week. Fanny and Alexander from my boy Igmar Bergman. I would love to do that. And Tokyo Story from Ozu. Have you guys ever seen any Ozu movies?
No.
I don't think
I've
so.
watched 2 Ozu movies now with this Criterion Challenge. Thank you, Criterion Challenge. Great. I mean, does anyone want to talk about Ozu and what he's done for motion pictures? Tokyo Story was great. Good Morning was great. Is this where Wes Anderson got it?
Oh, that's a great question.
That's a great question. So yeah, check those films out if you're looking for a great time. That's all I got.
And check out E.T. for hopefully a good time next week on this very podcast. 70mm is a tape deck production featuring original artwork provided by Danny Haas. Spiritual guidance and V'ger, the robot who loves movies, provided by Proto. Producer at large Dale_A. And music composed by Cinematrix. Prints and other merch are available on 70mmpod.com. This episode was mixed, edited, and produced by me, Slim. Support our Patreon for access to our VHS Village Discord to talk movies with new friends, access to our exclusive episodes in the 70mm vault, discounts on merch, uncut episodes, and a physical membership card mailed to you. To check out other Tape Deck podcasts, find the link in the episode notes. And if you'd like to support our friends at Letterboxd and upgrade to Pro or Patron status, you can do so with a 20% off discount using the links on 70mmpod.com. Goodbye.
This is a Tape Deck podcast.